What? Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? The antiviral research was top secret. So how did some detective from the Shibuya precinct know about it?
Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi?
Osawa let out a gasp. What are you talking about?
I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Osawa's voice trembled as he spoke. Kano was sure he'd hit the nail right on the head.
I know what this syndicate's really after, Mr. Osawa. It's you.
Osawa remained silent. What? Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? The antiviral research was top secret. So how did some detective from the Shibuya precinct know about it? Osawa was bewildered.
I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I know what the syndicate's really after, Mr. Osawa.
Osawa's mind went blank when he heard what Kano said next. He could give no reply.
Mr. Osawa?
The detective continued after a moment.
Is everything alright?
Without really thinking, Osawa hung up. Osawa staggered out of the living room. He needed to be alone. To his surprise, Kajiwara didn't try to stop him. Shutting his study door behind him, he dropped onto a sofa, then got out a bottle of pills. He stared at it, thinking back on what the detective had told him.
I know what the syndicate's really after, Mr. Osawa. It's you.
Detective Kano had a point. From a financial perspective, Osawa's discoveries, and indeed Osawa himself, were incredibly valuable. Immersed as he was in his research, he had never imagined he'd become a target. The kidnappers had used that alertness, had used that artlessness to catch him completely off his guard. He thought back to the emails that A had sent him. For now, they were just stringing him along, but before long, the guilt bombs might turn into more direct threats. They would extort his money, steal his research, and finally have him killed. It was so easy to see what their plan was now. And the worst of it was, he wasn't their only target. Kidnapping Maria would only be A's first step. Osawa contemplated in horror how his family would be all victimized because of him. There was only one thing he could do. He poured a mound of sleeping pills into his hand. Then, without any hesitation, he gulped down the lot. The effect on his body was slow to start, but he felt a deep and irresistible drowsiness began to creep over him, as his consciousness was starting to fade. He heard the distant sound of the front door chime. Moments later, the study door opened and Kajiwara peered inside to see Osawa lying on the floor. Mr. Osawa! Are you okay? Mr. Osawa! The detective's voice was rapidly fading out, as Osawa surrendered to the irresistible urge to drift into sleep. His mouth gaped open. A has come for me. Those were his last words. Some of the backup team emerged from Tanaka's condo. Kano turned to them, feeling a sudden surge of anxiety for Maria.
What's the situation there?
He asked. They told him that they'd found no one in Tanaka's rooms. So the hostage's status remained unknown, and the main culprit had evaded capture. This case hadn't been solved. In fact, it was still unfolding in the worst way conceivable. And still, Stanley remained focused on the attaché case, pondering it with a thoughtful expression.
Look,
Kano told him.
I'm going to request that I be returned to my normal duties. Maria still needs to be rescued. I still need to find out what happened to Hitomi, Detective Tatino.
For once, Stanley actually responded.
Justin, you do Stanley Day.
One sec.
Okay.
Okay. Hitomi. Yes, that's it. It makes perfect sense that they'd have her carried it.
Huh? What do you mean?
This whole attaché case relay was a fake out.
Wait, we've already seen all this. Hold on. It's Hitomi.
Osawa remained silent. It was April 22nd. Osawa had just returned from the United States the day before. He was in the midst of some routine work at the General Research Lab when his cell phone rang. The LCD display showed an unlisted caller. With some hesitation, Osawa picked up. Hello?
Emilio, go for it.
Is this Kenji Osawa?
The caller was using a voice modulator. Osawa raised an eyebrow. Yes?
And analyze Hitomi's blood.
Her blood.
If you don't, she's going to die.
With that, the caller hung up. There was an intensity behind this that made Osawa sure it wasn't just some prank call. He had Hitomi come into the lab ASAP. He told Hitomi he wanted a sample of her blood for an experiment. She agreed, suspecting nothing. He placed some of the blood he'd drawn onto a glass slide, then added some a type of fluorescent dye. Placing the slide under a fluorescence microscope, he took a look. It can't be. Osawa could hardly believe his eyes. Wriggling under the microscope was the Grim Reaper's sickle itself. There was no mistaking it. Hitomi was infected with the Uwa virus. Trembling, Osawa hurried to his computer. He opened the Uwa virus folder on his monitor. Within were images showing the stages of the virus's propagation. He double-clicked to magnify the first image. The Reaper's sickles were interlocked with one another. He clicked on the next image. After further propagation, the Uwa virus looked less like a sickle, more a sort of insectoid larva. Next was the final image. Interlocked into a single mass, the Uwa virus vaguely resembled a sinister, many-petaled sunflower. It took a mere 12 hours for the pathogen to develop to this point and begin its hideous destruction of the human body. Hitomi's infection sample was still in the state shown in the first image. There was still a chance to save her. Osawa slumped back into his chair, huddling in on himself. He had no choice. There was only one way to save Hitomi. He would have to administer the nearly completed antiviral. Using the antiviral without official approval was a grievous violation of company policy. Still, Osawa didn't have time to get the higher-ups to approve a clinical trial. He might be punished severely for it, but this was his only option. His daughter's life was at stake. But there was also another, even bigger hurdle in his way. The antiviral drug was stored in the deepest recesses of the biochemical research building. A high-intensity X-ray scanner was set up at the entrance to the storage area. This made it impossible for him to take research materials out. Well, if he couldn't get the antiviral out of there, he'd just have to bring Hitomi in. A course of action quickly took shape in his mind. First, he'd need to slip out of the general research building. He would then head to the biochemical research facility and show his ID card to the guard at the front gate. After passing through a lobby under the watchful gaze of several security cameras, he'd reach an elevator at the end of the hall that went directly to the storage section. This elevator required an ID card scan to operate. It would take about 20 seconds to get down to the first basement level and arrive at the entrance to the storage area. Finding an excuse to get Hitomi that far ought to be doable. If the security guard got suspicious, Osawa could say it was for a top-secret hematology experiment, and the guard would probably believe him. The problem was what came after. Getting into the storage area itself required a fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. This meant that he couldn't possibly get into the antiviral without Tanaka's cooperation. Desperate with uncertainty, Osawa called up Tanaka. He frantically explained the situation.
Understood.
Tanaka replied.
We need to get her this drug as soon as possible.
If the company finds out about this, you'll be held accountable for violation of corporate policy along with me. Are you sure you're okay with that?
What are you talking about? Hitomi's life is more important than company's policy.
Tanaka spoke without hesitation. Osawa felt an immense surge of gratitude for his assistant.
And I have to say, I'm deeply moved by your determination.
Tanaka added. Move? Whatever for?
You really are worried about Hitomi.
Osawa's gratitude faded. What are you talking about? Of course I am.
My apologies. It's just that putting your career on the line for something so personal is...
It's what? It's not like me?
No. Well, yes. I'm sorry.
Now Tanaka's voice was colored with embarrassment. Just what sort of person do you think I am? Osawa resisted the urge to ask the question out loud. A short time later, Osawa and Tanaka stood before the door to the secure storage area. The security guard had let them in without the slightest suspicion. Osawa pressed his index finger to the fingerprint scanner first. Accepted. He realized he'd been holding his breath as his authorization finally went through. Half a moment later, Tanaka touched his own finger to the scanner plate.
Accepted.
The lock released with an audible clang and the heavy door opened. Osawa hurried to retrieve the antiviral. As he picked up a small vial, he had a sudden realization. They were finally going to use the drug in a human test. His fatherly wish to cure Hitomi was overlaid by an intense rush of curiosity, the researcher's drive to discover his results. Hurry. I need to hurry. I need to administer the antiviral as soon as possible. Osawa could hardly fend off his excitement. Over the course of the next few hours following the injection, the Uwa virus would be eradicated from Hitomi's body. There had been some fever and cramping as temporary side effects, but the DDS had done a spectacular job of stomping out the virus. In saving his daughter's life, Osawa had proven the value of his research. If he had been asked which made him happier, he would have been hard-pressed to give an answer. Afterwards, he asked Hitomi where she could have become infected. She had no idea. He explained the need for secrecy and strictly forbade her from telling anyone else what had happened. Now a week had passed since Osawa gave the drug to Hitomi. He'd been conducting checks and had discovered that the DDS had not broken down, but remained in Hitomi's bloodstream. Extracting the DDS was a simple matter, requiring just a small blood sample from around the nape of the neck. The DDS itself was simply the delivery system for the antiviral drug. Residual amounts of the antiviral itself stayed behind within the cells. Using the DDS, it was possible to extract those minuscule amounts from cells in a blood sample. It might take considerable time, but a sufficiently detailed analysis could allow for the antiviral drug itself to be reconstructed. Osawa felt a chill as he contemplated the situation. The kidnappers had known how tough security was at the lab, so they'd come up with the idea of using a human vessel to get what they needed from within. By infecting Hitomi with the Uwa virus, they'd ensured that she'd receive the antiviral, that she'd have it in her blood. If Tanaka was working with the kidnappers, that explained why he'd been so cooperative about the fingerprint scanner.
Damn it!
Osawa shouted. He clutched his head in his hands. Tanaka had been his partner and trusted confidant for years. Osawa refused to believe he'd been betrayed like this. The front door chime sounded.
Mr. Osawa!
Kajiwara called out.
It appears you have a visitor. Could you handle that?
Who could it possibly be, now of all time? Let's go see what... Well, yeah, let's go see what's up, B.
Alright.
With a sigh, Osawa dragged himself to his feet. He stumbled wearily back to the living room, where the investigators were staring at the intercom monitor with concern. The intercom's hidden camera showed a man with an unsettling grin posed intimidatingly outside the front gate. Osawa didn't recognize him. Yes? Who is it? He asked guardedly through the intercom. Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Are you playing games with me? There's no way I'm letting you in, Osawa said. But the nonsensical badgering continued. An interview. The name of the magazine brought up an unpleasant memory. That was the gossip rag that had run the article about his political marriage. Wait. This is for one of those kinds of articles? The man's tone was both high-handed and belligerent. Like hell you are! I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip. My daughters? Furious, Osawa cut off the intercom. This was no time to be indulging someone else's nonsense. The man was shouting so loud his voice carried past the gate and through the front door. He wasn't actually on his hands and knees. Osawa could see that clearly through the intercom monitor.
Mr. Osawa,
Kajiwara said, frowning.
This isn't a good time to have someone drawing attention to your home.
Alright. I'll get rid of him. Osawa hurried out of the house, confronting Minorikawa through the front gate. The journalist had that tenacious look that immediately marked him as a member of the media. Give me your business card, Osawa said. I'll have them get in touch with you later. He took Minorikawa's card, then went right back inside. Back in his study, Osawa tossed Minorikawa's business card into the trash. Unable to think of what else to do, he tried the internet fortune teller again. He got the same, "You're a very work-minded person" result a second time. If you don't get over your indifference to the world might start to harbor quite a grudge. My indifference to the world around me, huh? The truth was that even with his closest companions, even with Tanaka for instance, his relationship had always been strictly a matter of business. He'd never really taken it upon himself to get to know Tanaka as a person. And that was pretty much the case for everyone he knew. He harbored no interest in other people. He had no concern for his fellow man. That had made itself abundantly clear when he received a microscope as a birthday present way back in first grade. Even now, he still remembered the shock he'd felt when he looked through that lens for the first time. He'd discovered a new, almost infinite world hidden in the midst of one he'd always thought was too small. By comparison, the real world seemed bland and ugly. Wherever he looked, wherever he went, he had to contend with tedium. It hadn't taken long for him to become more charmed by the world under his microscope than the one around him. It was like a calm, quiet little seaside. A beach where he could just sit and stare out at the waves. He wanted to stay immersed in that world forever and ever. Before he knew it, he was an adult. And then a husband. And then a father. The people around him thought him an odd fellow, but he hadn't let that change the way he lived his life. And this, now, was the result. He hadn't been betrayed by Tanaka. He didn't know Tanaka well enough for that. Find a way to connect more deeply with the people around you and start living a better life before it's too late. Just do that, and you're sure to have a wonderful future ahead. Osawa picked up his cell phone and dialed Tanaka's number. I had tried calling him repeatedly and hadn't gotten through. It was doubtful that he'd pick up. Still, Osawa had to try. The phone rang several times. He listened grimly to the empty mechanical sound, preparing himself for disappointment.
What is it?
Tanaka's voice sounded coldly in Osawa's ear. The tension was electric. He decided to wait a little bit longer.
Just 5 more minutes.
Suddenly, a man's voice came through the intercom. Yes? Who is it? He sounded rather guarded.
It's Minorikawa.
Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa?
Oh, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, right? Really?
Are you playing games with me?
I don't have the time for that. Please, just open up.
There's no way I'm letting you in. This discussion was getting them nowhere. Minorikawa decided he'd have to take the direct approach.
Look, just hold your horses. I'm here for an interview. You got that?
An interview. He'd taken the bait. Most folks could hardly resist the word interview.
That's right. A piece for 4-star general gossip.
Wait. This is for one of those kinds of magazines? Articles? The man sounded angry now.
What do you mean? Those kinds of articles? I'm just looking for an interview.
Like hell you are. I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip.
You're not the one I'm here to talk to. I want to interview your twin daughters.
My daughters. No parent would deny their children a chance for word of their achievements to spread.
I understand they won a shared prize for a beauty contest at Midoriyama Academy. If you wouldn't mind my interviewing them,
The intercom cut out before Minorikawa could finish.
Hey, what gives? I'm begging out here, on my hands and knees!
He wasn't actually on his hands and knees, but whoever was on the other end couldn't see that.
If your daughters aren't home, can you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them?
He wasn't even using the intercom now. He was just shouting over the gate. A man stepped out of the front door. "Give me your business card," he said. "I'll have them get in touch with you later." The man had a somewhat stricken look on his face. This had to be Kenji Osawa then. Wait. Hold on. Osawa. Now Minorikawa recognized him. This was Kenji Osawa, the preeminent virologist who worked for Akoshi Pharmaceutical. 4-star General Gossip had run a scandalous article on him in the past. Minorikawa remembered reading it. He held out his business card and Osawa snatched it from him. The virologist started to head back into his house.
Please see that they get back to me, Mr. Osawa.
Minorikawa shouted after him. And then he noticed something odd. It was the middle of afternoon, but every window in the house had its curtains drawn. That, combined with Osawa's demeanor, set off alarm bells in Minorikawa's head. He knew he was on to something, but he couldn't linger at the Osawa residence any longer than he already had. He needed to get to that theater ASAP. He hurried back to the taxi and told Kimizuka to go. A few minutes later, the rear tires skidded sharply as the cab came to a stop beside a different curb. The trip from Shoto to the theater in Sakuragaoka had taken almost no time at all.
Here we are, sir.
Kimizuka announced.
Wow, that was fast.
Still, Minorikawa was at least 5 minutes behind schedule. He hoped he'd still be able to get the interview with Oarai.
He obviously wants to help me.
The line went dead.
Guess that answers that well enough.
Kano said as he put away his phone. Now it was clear why the criminals were after Hitomi. He saw an uneasy look on Stanley's face.
Something on your mind?
Kano asked. Stanley responded with a question of his own.
If Hitomi was carrying the antiviral, how were the criminals planning on getting it from her?
Kano thought for a moment.
Well, taking her by force at the scramble posed too high a risk.
He said.
There are nearly 100 detectives there. I might have guessed there would be. That's why I devised the Achi case relay. They wanted to abduct Hitomi somewhere away from their Dragon's notice. This is a plan that the science seems to just suggest. But still,
He added.
I wonder how they managed to lead her away from police protection.
A look of revelation crossed Stanley's face.
All they need to do was convince her to go of her own accord.
But how?
Kano asked. And then it came to him. He thought back to Hitomi's initial contact with Tariq Al-Karawan. Just before he'd taken the attaché case from her. The two had a brief conversation. It was possible Al-Karawan had given Hitomi some form of instructions then.
Just
Guess we're back.
yeah, go ahead.
Guess we're back to tracking down Al-Karawan again, huh?
Kano could tell from the look in Stanley's eyes that he was on the verge of saying something. Probably some remark about how Tateno had allowed Al-Karawan to run free. Right now, Kano wasn't going to argue the point. After this case was resolved, he'd discover what Tateno's real motives were. And once he did, Stanley would eat his words. In the meantime,
We can't just wander around looking without any leads.
he said,
Until we get more intel, let's see what we can do with the security cameras back at the precinct.
Numerous monitors shone down on the pair as they entered the Shibuya precinct's surveillance room. Each showed an array of faces of individuals somewhere in Shibuya. Kano asked one of the operators to pull up Alcarawan's data on screen. By selecting each of the faces on the monitors in turn, they could run comparisons to determine if anyone among them was Alcarawan. One by one, the operator made his way through the faces. Assuming their target was still in Shibuya, there was a high likelihood they'd find him. But the minutes ticked past, and there was still no sign of him. Kano's tone grew more and more impatient as he directed the operator's search.
Just calm down.
Stanley said. He set a hand on Kano's shoulder.
You keep wasting your energy when you don't need to.
That's just how I do things.
Kano replied.
I'm energetic because I care.
He pointed out another face to the operator.
Well, you're setting yourself up for a short life.
With a sigh, Stanley sank into a nearby chair.
My brother was like you.
The American spoke so quietly that his words were barely audible. "10 minutes later, a man clad in black appeared on one of the monitors. The operator lined up his cursor. The comparison check confirmed that it was Alcarawan.
Yes!
Kano hissed, pumping his fist. It appeared that their quarry was simply walking around town, calm and composed. Kano radioed in Alcarawan's location to Kuze.
Our units! Intercept the suspect in a double!
Kuze ordered.
Caanan will provide guidance using the surveillance monitors.
They saw Alcarawan stop in front of a cigarette vending machine. Was he waiting for someone?
Sasayama reporting. I've got eyes on the mud.
Kano's partner had evidently been nearby.
I'm making the arrest.
He said. There was a note of courage in Sasayama's voice. He came into view on the monitor, walking casually. At some point, he ditched his anime nerd costume for a cat mascot suit.
Oh no.
Kano muttered.
This guy not going to make Sasayama stand out like a sore thumb.
Shoot, the mud spotted me. I'm going in pursuit.
Sasayama slipped out of the camera's view.
Whoa! Look, let go of me!
Yes, they're you.
You're Mr. Yanagishita, right? Look, I'm really sorry, but I really do need you to return that costume.
The voices came in over the wireless. It sounded like Sasayama was caught up in an argument with someone.
Sasayama!
Kano shouted as he eyed the monitor.
Kano, I need some help. Here. Requesting emergency backup.
The line went dead before Sasayama could finish. Kano didn't have the faintest idea what was going on, but obviously his partner needed him. He rushed out of the precinct. When he arrived on the scene, he saw Sasayama, still in the catsuit, caught up in a scuffle with a man he'd never seen before. There was no sign of Al-Karawan.
Sasayama, what's going on?
That's an excellent question.
Sasayama replied.
This guy just came at me out of nowhere.
He sounded pretty riled up.
Sir, I need you to return this costume. My boss is very insistent on that point.
The man was panting with exertion, shouting in Sasayama's face. Was he the owner of the suit?
What's the deal with that thing, Sasayama?
Kano asked.
Bought it at a variety store on Center Guy. Be a perfect disguise. I didn't steal anything.
Sir, I'm telling you, you need to get that back.
I'm telling you, I've got no idea what you're on about.
Sasayama stamped his foot.
I realize you're not Mr. Yanagishita. That isn't the issue. I just need you to return that costume.
Alright, sure. I'll give it to you. I just need it a little longer, so let go of me!
I can't do that, sir. I need you to get out of that suit right now.
Yeah, I get that, buddy, but no can do! It's like I told you before. The zipper on this thing's snagged.
Kano watched as the argument descended further and further into absurdity. Meanwhile, Al-Karawan was getting away. This was ridiculous. He turned to go in pursuit of the suspect.
Kano, wait!
Sasayama called out.
Come on, help me out, man.
Huh?
Help me get this thing off.
There really isn't the time for this.
Kano replied.
I'm going after a suspect.
Oh, I get it. You're gonna ditch me here so you can take all the credit for yourself.
Whoa, what?
I was this close to nabbing the guy. That arrest is mine to make. And you know it.
It wasn't as though Kano couldn't empathize. If Sasayama hadn't been blindsided by this random stranger, he probably would have caught Al-Karawan just fine.
Alright then.
Kano said. He reached for the zipper at the back of the catsuit. But as Sasayama had said, the metal fittings were snagged and refused to budge.
Hurry up!
I'm trying.
There wasn't time to do this slowly and carefully. Kano yanked down on the zipper hard.
Stop.
The stranger shrieked in alarm.
Don't be so rough like that.
If I don't, I'll never...
You mustn't. If you're careful, you cause a malfunction.
Malfunction? What the hell was this guy talking about? Kano got an ever firmer grip on the zipper and pulled again. He paused in surprise as Sasayama mewled. Again, Sasayama let out a little cry. Except it didn't sound like Sasayama's voice at all.
Guys? Something
Sasayama
making a
said.
rumble- There's something making a rumbling noise inside this thing?
He sounded pretty alarmed,
Oh,
said the other man.
it started.
His face went pale.
What are you talking about?
Sasayama demanded.
What started?
The man hesitated, then seemed to come to a decision.
Well, this is no ordinary cat costume.
Meaning what exactly?
I shot ran this unit out by mistake. I had no idea it was anything so horrifying until the boss for me in a little while ago.
What's horrifying? You're not answering the question.
The man's gaze grew hollow and distant.
Cats.
He said. For a moment, there was only silence. Then Sasayama spoke up, nervously.
Well, yeah. It's a cat. I know that already.
No, you're not listening. This is a cats.
Like I said, I already know it's a cat. Anyone can see that from just looking at it.
No, not a cat. Cats.
The meowing started back up again. With each new mewl, the sound got faster. Soon, it sounded less like a cat, more like some mechanism that was whirring about. There was a sudden, fierce, blinding flash. Space itself began to warp in a roughly 3-meter radius around Sasayama and his costume. A moment later, Kano and the others had vanished. Ten minutes later, at some point, he ditched his anime nerd costume for a street dancer's getup. It didn't appear that Alcarawan had noticed him yet. Bit by bit, Sasayama closed the distance. Not much further now. Kano's hand balled into a fist as he watched. Then, something unexpected happened. Another man came running into view right in the middle of the monitor. There was no sound, but they could see the newcomer was shouting something. As Alcarawan turned to look at the man, Sasayama launched himself like a bullet from a gun. In an instant, Detective and Perp were locked in a violent scuffle right there on the street. Kano swallowed a lump in his throat as he watched the struggle unfold. Earlier in the day, Alcarawan had done a number on Sasayama, but this time, the detective had the upper hand. He got a grip on Alcarawan's neck and kneed him repeatedly. Alcarawan tried desperately to bring Sasayama to the ground. But Sasayama braced himself and avoided the takedown. Then he shifted his stance and took Alcarawan to the pavement with a spectacular hip throw.
Yes!
Kano clapped his hands together in excitement. Catching the perp in a scarf hold, Sasayama got out his handcuffs.
Stanley, we should head to the scene.
Kano said. He looked away from the monitor for a mere moment, and when he looked back, Sasayama had released his hold and crumbled to the ground.
What?
Panicked, Kano stared at the image of his friend. There was something jutting up from Sasayama's abdomen.
Zoom in!
Kano cried frantically. The camera closed in on Sasayama. Now Kano could see exactly what he'd feared. Sasayama had been stabbed in the gut, blood pooled on the pavement around him. Kano screamed.
Sasayama!
The camera showed several other detectives arriving at the scene, capturing Alcarawan before he could escape. But Sasayama lay motionless. The pool of blood around him spread further and further across the pavement. Unable to look any longer, Kano rushed from the surveillance room.
There you are. I thought we were going to meet on the second floor.
Going to meet? What's this guy talking about? I've never seen him before.
Well, anyway. Come on, we have to go and hide.
Hide? Why do we need to do that? Hide? Why?
Because those guys might have found us. They're outside.
He grabs my hand and I yank it away. Hey, come on! What gives? Is this some new pickup trick or something? Whatever it is, it's way too aggressive. I get the heck out of there.
Hey! Hey!
The guy keeps shouting, but I ignore him and try to slip away into the crowd. When I look back, though, I see that he's still following me. What do I do?
Oh.
Well, for now, maybe I should head to another floor. I hurry towards the bank of elevators.
Well, if it isn't Tama! What a coincidence!
Achi took the escalator down to the 3rd floor. And there was Hitomi, standing right in the open after he'd been searching for her high and low.
There you are. I thought we were going to meet on the 2nd floor.
Achi said. She stared back at him in confusion.
Well, anyway. Come on, you have to go hide.
Hide? Why?
She gave him a dubious look. Achi felt like something was off, but now wasn't the time to dwell on it.
Because those guys might have found us.
He said.
They're outside.
He took hold of Hitomi's hand.
Hey, let go! What gives?
She quickly yanked her hand away.
Huh?
As Achi tried to make sense of the way she was acting, she took off down the corridor.
Hey, Hitomi!
He hurried after her. It was like changing her clothes had also changed her personality. Still, he couldn't leave her alone. The kidnappers might well be closing in. He stayed in pursuit of her, trying not to draw too much attention. He lost track of her somewhere near the elevators.
What's her deal?
Unsure of what else he should do, he headed back down to their rendezvous point on the 2nd floor. When he arrived, he spotted Hitomi heading down the escalator ahead of him.
Hitomi!
Achi shouted. But his voice vanished into the noise of the crowd, and she disappeared onto the 1st floor.
Damn it!
Achi rushed down the escalator. He took the steps 2, 3, 5 at a time. He made it to the 1st floor and looked around. There was Hitomi, about to take a different escalator back up.
Why is she doing this?
He waved his arms to get her attention, but she didn't notice and headed right back up.
Down, up. What the heck is she thinking?
Achi sped around and got on the upward escalator.
Out of my way! Come on!
He shoved people aside as he ran up the moving stairs. But he saw no sign of Hitomi when he reached the 2nd floor. He'd lost track of her completely.
Come on! This is ridiculous!
Achi's shoulders slumped. He felt exhausted, but he kept up his search, scouring one floor after another until eventually he made it down to the 2nd basement level. Had she grown too impatient waiting for Caanan and gone off searching for the blue minivan again? This one's you, Justin.
That was Hitomi.
Oh, maybe.
I think I can handle myself.
Hitomi? Justin, just read it.
I think I can handle myself from here.
He thought back to what Hitomi had said earlier.
Damn it! She's not gonna be okay by herself.
He pounded his fist into the wall in frustration.
Please, stop.
That was Hitomi's voice.
Hitomi?
Achi moved faster than he could think.
Hitomi?
Achi.
He called back. A pair of thugs had grabbed her by both arms. Achi stomped his way towards them.
Get your hands off of her!
He shouted.
Nolan.
Huh. What's it to you, pal?
The older of the two, a middle-aged fellow, turned to Achi with a sneer. He looked familiar somehow. Hitomi shook herself free of the men and ran over to Achi.
Wait. Thinks the older guy talking. Frank.
It's no use trying to act tough, buddy. We're just trying to get back what we're owed. Don't make us have to get rough with you.
What you're owed? Hitomi, do you owe these people money?
No, I don't. He just came after me and started going on about 2 million yen.
She looked just as baffled by the situation as Achi was.
If you're gonna blame someone, blame your boss.
The older man said. He gestured to his lackey. A feral gleam flashed in the young punk's eyes. It was the look of a man who couldn't resist dishing out a beatdown. He brought up his fist and shifted his feet, shadowboxing with a few quick jabs with his left hand. It looked to Achi like the guy was an experienced boxer.
Hold on.
Hitomi said.
What do you mean, my boss?
Nolan.
Say what? Yanagishita? Who the hell do you think?
The young punk shuffled closer, fists still menacing. Then his expression changed.
Hey! Hold on.
No, the young.
Are you Achi?
The younger
and-
guy's Nolan.
Oh.
It was the older guy.
Older guy's Frank.
Oh, because we were doing the other way.
Yeah.
So this one's me now?
Yes.
Or- Hold on. Are you Achi?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, ain't that lucky? Getting to throw down with you like this.
The punk sounded pleased indeed.
I've heard all sorts of rumors about you, you know. Let's see how true they are.
Achi didn't like his chances in a straight-up fight with a trained boxer. What should he do?
See.
He had to go for broke. His best chance was to hope for an opening to deliver a low kick. He'd need to time it perfectly when his opponent took a step forward. With a loud breath, the thug shot out of his left arm.
Now!
Achi shifted his stance and unleashed a low kick. Suddenly, the elevator's doors opened right nearby. Achi and the punk both stopped mid-attack. A miserable-looking older man stood in the elevator. At the sight of him, the punk's face went red with rage.
Nolan.
You? Sasayama?
Going up.
The man in the elevator hurriedly closed the doors. The two thugs rushed toward him, but the elevator had already begun heading back upward. "Come on, after him!" the older man shouted. The young punk raced up the stairs. "You stay right where you are," the older man fellow added, glaring at Hitomi. Then he followed after his lackey.
Does he really think we're dumb enough to just wait here?
Achi scoffed.
Achi, I've been looking all over for you.
Hitomi gave him an angry swat on the chest.
For me? What are you talking about?
You weren't waiting where you said you'd be.
Yeah, because you went up to another floor.
What do you mean? I went right where you said. On the second floor.
Huh?
This wasn't quite adding up.
The second floor? What are you talking about? You went up to the third floor.
No, I didn't.
Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Achi felt like his brain was getting scrambled.
Well, anyway. At least I found you safe and sound.
Yeah.
The two smiled at one another.
What's with those clothes?
Hitomi's new outfit was completely different from the clothes she had on earlier.
I tried on a few things, but wound up deciding on this.
You tried other stuff on? Ah, okay. That explains it.
Achi said. At least now things sort of made sense.
That's nice, you know?
What is?
Your clothes. I mean, they look good on you.
Thank you. Wow. I'm actually blushing now.
kind of made me blush to say them.
Achi and Hitomi shyly avoided each other's gaze.
Oh, hey. Hey.
Achi said, eager to change the subject.
Do you still have that magazine?
Oh, right, yeah. I was going to just throw it away, but I couldn't.
How come?
I haven't been able to find the right kind of receptacle. Newspapers and magazines are supposed to be kept separate from normal trash, right?
Hitomi scanned their surroundings for a suitable bin.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
You think about proper recycling now of all times?
Is that weird?
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I think you might just be perfect.
Achi found himself blushing even harder now.
Emilio.
Tama!
A sudden yell snapped him out of his embarrassment. The sketchy-looking fellow who'd given her the magazine was scampering down the stairs toward him. Achi said.
The word is back.
The man ignored him, though, and leaned in close to Hitomi.
Ha 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 ha! You do still have it.
He snatched the magazine from Hitomi's hand.
Yes. This one hasn't been scratched off yet.
The man hunkered down on the floor and began scratching away at a scratch card stapled into the centerfold.
Wait! You never had that!
Another man came swooping out of nowhere and yanked the magazine away. It was the older fellow who'd appeared in the elevator minutes before.
You can do that! It's mine!
The sketchy-looking man clutched at the older newcomer.
Let go!
No way!
I said let go!
That's it, no way!
The two were fighting right in front of the exit, keeping Achi and Hitomi from leaving.
I like this!
The older man shouted, scratching away haphazardly at the ticket.
Now it's just one less scrap of paper!
My 100,000 yen!
You mean my 100,000 yen!
Then the middle-aged fellow looked back down at the ticket.
God, what are the odds?
Somehow, in his random scratching, he happened to land himself a winner.
Give it.
No way!
The two men took off, engaged in a running battle for the ticket.
What's the deal with those two?
I'm not sure.
Achi and Hitomi could only stand there, dumbfounded.
On the other hand, hey, look at the time. It's almost 3.
The two headed hurriedly for the Gigo back entrance. But just as they were nearing the doors, the shutters dropped down in front of them.
Whoa, what gives?
Frank. Go ahead, Frank.
Sorry.
Due to maintenance, all entrances other than the main entrance on the first floor have been closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. Customers wishing to leave, please use the main entrance on the first floor.
Achi glared at the loudspeaker. It looked like there was no exit through the back after all.
I've got a really bad this.
You mean premonition?
Hitomi had gotten quicker to butt in with her corrections. Holding on to their premonitions, then, the two hurried their way up the stairwell. As Hitomi tried to head out the first floor entryway, Achi yanked her back.
Careful.
What's the matter?
It's that guy.
Huh?
Hitomi's expression stiffened. Slipping behind a nearby pillar, Achi pointed to the man with the cane, who was keenly eyeing shoppers as they came and went.
Oh, this bites. No way we're getting out with him there.
Achi?
Hitomi whispered in his ear.
Behind us.
Achi glanced back and saw the two goons walking in their direction.
Uh-oh.
If those two caused a scene like before, the assassin would notice them for sure.
Uh-huh.
The younger punk had spotted them.
Damn it.
Achi thought, gritting through his teeth.
Nolan.
But the thuggish pair let out a teensy squeak and then darted off in a different direction, vanishing from view.
What the heck?
Achi and Hitomi watched them go, unsure what to make of the sudden retreat.
Well, anyways.
Achi said after a moment.
Now we can try to find another way out.
Taking Hitomi by the hand, he headed back into the shopping area. The back entrance on the first floor. That was a no-go. The other emergency exits were also locked down, which meant that the main entrance on the first floor really was the only choke point in or out. It was almost time for them to meet Caanan. They needed to find some way to bust out of here. The pair headed back toward the main entrance. Then they saw the man with the cane again, heading in their direction. He hadn't seen them yet, but there was no way they'd avoid him if they didn't do something quick.
Guess we gotta go. Guess for now we gotta go up.
Achi said to Hitomi. They started racing up the nearest escalator, which was descending from above.
My bad, coming through.
Sorry, please excuse us.
They fought and shoved their way past a stream of people riding in the other direction. They could see the second floor now. Achi figured they'd be in the clear once they got there. But then a large woman appeared at the top of the escalator, heading down. She was the one who'd been in the Chinese restaurant on the 4th floor. The one who'd supposedly packed an entire buffet into her belly. He was wide enough that Achi and Hitomi would never be able to slip past her.
Hey, out of the way!
Achi shouted. But the young woman ignored him. Achi tried to push past, but he just bounced off her. They were drifting inevitably back down toward the 1st floor. It was like they were riding a conveyor belt that was delivering them right to the assassin. This was not good. If they didn't do something soon, they'd...
Wait a sec.
Something must have caught the assassin's eye. Achi saw him suddenly rush outside. There was no telling what had just happened, but now there was a chance to escape. Achi and Hitomi raced out the door. Outside, the man with the cane was nowhere to be seen.
Looks like we're safe.
Achi let out a sigh.
CJ, you do this.
For now, keep your eyes
Someone
open.
Someone said.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sudden words made the two turn with a start. Caanan was standing right behind them. Gotten this close and neither of them had noticed a thing. She moved with all the skill of an assassin. Achi felt a chill shoot through him.
It's Yanagishita again. I try to walk on like I don't notice him, but it's already too late.
Huh? Hey, where'd your boyfriend go?
Boyfriend? I have no clue what he's talking about.
Anyway, perfect timing. Can you give me back that magazine?
Nothing you're saying is making any sense. I peer at him in confusion. Once again, Yanagishita looks like he might start to cry.
Don't tease me like this. I did give it to you, right?
No, you didn't give me anything.
I get it. You wanted the 100,000 yen all to yourself. So now you're playing dumb. Is that it?
No, I honestly have no idea what this is all about. By now he's all worked up and getting red in the face.
Look, you might have amnesia, but that excuse ain't gonna fly with me.
The amnesia has nothing to do with it. He doesn't seem to want to believe me, no matter what I say.
Come on, hurry up and just give it back. Otherwise I'm gonna start bawling here, real loud.
he's going to cry? Seriously? This guy's a real piece of work.
Well, what's it gonna be? You gonna make a grown man cry?
It would certainly be pretty embarrassing if he starts sobbing now. But I can't exactly give him back a magazine I never had. The elevator doors open.
Right, I think.
Well, if it isn't our little entrepreneur, we've been looking for ya.
It's the two thugs from before, and there's no avoiding them this time. The men drag Mr. Yanagishita into the elevator.
Me, Mama!
He grabs hold of my hand. Hey, let go of me! Right, now I'm in the elevator too, and the doors are shutting.
Now then, Mr. Yanagishita.
Says the bald-headed man.
There's nowhere else to run.
His tone is polite, but also pretty foreboding.
Whoa, whoa. Wait, just hold on. I can get you the money. I'm just about to get loads of it.
Enough of your poppycock.
Snarls the younger guy.
I really mean it this time. Please, you have to believe me. Aha! I can pay you 100,000 right now.
100,000? You're really carrying around that much?
Asks the bald man.
No, not me. The girl.
The men turn to eye me in unison.
She's holding on to something that's worth 100,000 yen.
What? The sudden turn in the conversation has me all flustered.
Mama, please.
Yanagishita says.
Just hand it over.
I already told you, I don't know what you're talking about. The elevator stops at the first floor and the doors open.
Oh.
Standing on the other side of the doors is the guy I ran into earlier, Hana's father. The bald-headed man snarls.
Oyama!
I'll just get the next one.
Hana's father bolts like a startled hare. The bald man and his crony stare after him.
Now's my chance.
Yanagishita hisses. He darts out of the elevator and makes a run for it.
Hey, after him!
Shouts the bald man.
After who? Him or him?
Just start with Toyama.
The two thugs race after Hana's father. They've left me all by myself. I'm worried enough to think about going after them, but before too long I've lost sight of them all. For a long time I just stand there, dumbfounded, like a hurricane victim lingering in the aftermath. What a day this has been. When I finally get my wits about me, I realize I'm pretty hungry. That's right, I didn't get to eat lunch. I head for the 4th floor where the restaurants are. Since I really don't want to run into Yanagishita and those other guys again, I decide to take the escalator. As I'm riding up, I hear a commotion coming from the floor below. It's a man's voice, shouting angrily.
Justin.
Out of my way, come on!
I pay the outburst no heed and let the escalator take me up. When I arrive at the 4th floor restaurant section, the sign for a Chinese buffet catches my eye. Imabiki Chinese Restaurant. The name means something along the lines of fire of morning. I guess fire is important for cooking, but that's kind of an unsettling thing to call an eatery. Oh well, I guess the name doesn't really matter. I made a mood to straight up devour some Chinese food. When I go to enter, though, I'm stopped by one of the employees.
Jules.
Oh, I'm sorry, miss. I'm afraid we're not accepting any customers. I mean, we're not really open, not just now.
She sounds a little bewildered by her own words. Why not?
Well, you see, one of our other customers ate all of our food.
Someone ate the entire restaurant out of food? Is that even possible?
What I'm trying to say, miss, is they were, closed for the day.
Ugh, go figure. Looks like Mr. Yanagishita's bad luck has rubbed off on me. I guess I'll have to look for another restaurant too. Hold up. Who's that kid? Lying idly across the seats in the waiting area at the front of the restaurant is a young girl. Is this the girl that dismal-looking fellow had been searching for? She looks so sad it makes my heart ache. I can't just leave her here alone. Excuse me, is your name Hana? She looks wary at the question. Your father's been looking for you, I say. Hana ignores me and just stares up at the ceiling. Hey, how about we try to find your dad together? I coax the girl into getting up, then I call out to the restaurant staffer. Oh my... Excuse me, where should I go to announce them to put an Where should I go to ask them to put an announcement on the PA system?
Don't know. Maybe, the first floor? The security office?
Right. Down we go. I take Hana with me and we get on one of the elevators together.
Do you know my father?
Hana's tone is pretty brusque. Well, I don't know him exactly.
Then are you a debt collector?
I laugh and shake my head. Would a debt collector be wearing an outfit like this? Hana lets out a deep sigh.
So you're just kind of butting in, then?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I can't help but grin sheepishly. I feel like something about sad little Hana is stirring some of my lost memories. If I just came out and told her that, though, she'd probably think I was a total weirdo. So I decide to say something else. Guess I'm just the sort of person who can't ignore someone in trouble.
You're weird.
Hana looks away from me. When I get to the security office, I hear voices coming from inside. I wonder what they're talking about. I peek in through the crack in the door and see a man with a cane speaking with a security guard.
Emilio.
How many exits are there that lead outside?
There's the main entrance on the first floor, along with 2 side entrances. Also, there's one down the first basement level, not in the second basement.
The security guard spoke with polite precision.
I see.
Says the man with the cane.
I need you to shutter all exits except for the main entrance right away.
Understood, sir. Right.
Attention all shoppers.
The announcement comes in over the loudspeaker.
Due to maintenance, all first floor entrances other than the main entrance have been closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. Customers wishing to leave, please use the main entrance on the first floor.
I'm not sure what just happened, but it sounds like the main entrance is now the only way out. Come on, I say. Let's have them make an announcement for us. But when I turn around, Hana is gone. She must have run off while I was distracted.
Frank, maybe?
Well, looky here. If it ain't that little cutie again.
The 2 thugs that were after Yanagishita come strolling toward me.
Wow, you're a speedy one, huh?
Says the bald man.
Weren't you just downstairs just now? And did you change your clothes too?
He looks me over, seeming impressed.
Hey, hold on. Let me see your face.
The younger man grabs me by the wrist.
You know Yanagishita, yeah? Go on and give him a quick call for us.
He gives me a sharp yank. Let go of me!
Can it, girlie? Just give the man a call and we're all good.
I have nothing to do with that guy.
Do it now!
These guys aren't even listening to me. Now I'm pretty pissed off. I said I have nothing to do with that guy! I whip my manhandled arm in a wide arc and send the younger man flying into a stack of boxes. Guess he must not have been expecting that. He hits hard. The impact knocks him out cold.
Whoa! Who the heck are you?
The bald man asks, his eyes wide. Shut up, I tell him. You're next. I flash a winning grin. He gathers up his fallen friend and drags him away as fast as he can go. Okay. That was pretty strange. It was just like when I was fighting Miku. My body seems to know how to pull off all these moves instinctively. Am I a martial artist, maybe? Anyway, I've got to find Hana. Easier said than done. I wander around the building, but I don't see any sign of the girl. Maybe she went back home? Eventually, I slump down on a bench in a corner. I wish I could go home too, I mutter to myself. Something cold presses against my neck. What? Is that what I think it is?
Nolan, I guess.
Make a scene and I slit your throat.
Oh no. It is a knife. 2 foreign men grab me by the arms from either side. In that moment, fragmentary memories flood through my mind. I'm on a street. It looks like someplace in the Middle East. I'm being dragged along by several men. I'm too scared to speak. There are people on the street. Market vendors, but none of them seem willing to get involved. The men drag me into some back alley. Help me. Please, somebody help me. I'm being abducted. And then a dark silhouette drops down in front of me. The figure brandishes a knife threateningly at the men. The blade moves with dazzling speed. My captors are all down in mere moments. Who is this? Who came to save me? I try my utmost to drag my memories to the surface. It's a girl. That's right. I'm certain of that much. I don't remember her face, but it's a girl, younger than me.
Walk faster.
The angry hiss in my ear snaps me out of my flashback. What was that memory just now? I'm more concerned about the girl who saved me than I am about the men who've captured me now. The 2 thugs march me along, still holding me by the arms.
Can't believe she was in a place like that.
Justin.
Yeah, talk about giving us a turnaround.
I can't figure out what they're talking about. A place like what? Giving them the runaround? Do you know me? The 2 men look at each other.
Wait, are you the other one?
One of them peers closely into my face. What are you talking about? What do you mean, a place like... I stop as a sudden idea comes to me. Hold on. Are you talking about that storehouse? The men look utterly confused.
What are you talking about?
One of them asks. I explain that I've lost my memory. This seems to make them pretty anxious.
Gotta report this.
One of the men takes out his cell phone and makes a call. He informs whoever's on the end that I've lost my memory. I have no idea what's going on. Based on what I can follow from the conversation, though, it seems like these were the people who had put me in that storehouse. But why had they done that? One of these guys asked if I was the other one. What could that possibly mean? Could it be? Did they abduct me because they mistook me for someone else? If so, who? The more I try to think, the more muddied this all gets. Calm down. Just calm down. Let's think of what we know. What I do know for sure is that I woke up inside that storehouse. And evidently, I took a blow to the head, and that's the cause of my amnesia. Hold on. That's strange. If these people had kidnapped me before, why wasn't the storehouse, well, locked? Seems pretty sloppy if they wanted to keep someone confined. What could this all possibly mean? It's no use. I haven't the foggiest. None of this makes any sense at all.
Nolan, Justin, either one.
Let go of her.
Oh.
I craned my neck to see who spoke. It's the man with the cane who was at the security office.
Who the hell are you?
Who the hell are you?
One of my captor barks.
Emilio.
I said, let her go. Did you not hear?
The man with the cane pulls a gun from his suit pocket.
Get lost. This isn't worth dying over.
The two men take a few steps back and then bolt out of the alleyway. Who are you? My voice trembles slightly.
Guess he's not here.
The man takes a quick look around. He? Do you mean Mr. Yanagishita?
All that matters is that he's not here.
Gun in hand, the man slowly approaches.
Hitomi Asawa. I know you've done nothing wrong.
What? I feel a jolt of surprise at the name. Hitomi Osawa? Is that my name? His face a mask of stone. The man points the gun right at my head.
Please. No hard feelings.